Hello, today we are learning how to sew the perfect scripture case, a pattern you can find on my Etsy shop for $6. The pattern includes 25 pages of instructions and a tutorial, as well as 15 pages of a pattern that you can print at home and cut out. These scripture cases are complete with pockets in the front and pockets inside. They fit a standard quad scripture case for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, as well as a Bible and a triple combination. Here's how you make it. All right, it is time to print our pattern. Let's take a look. Here is the pattern. I have downloaded it and I have opened it on Adobe. I'm going to go to my print button right here. On your printer settings, it's best to print it on actual size or shrink fit as long as it's at 100%. Make sure your orientation is set to auto. And I am going to print only the pattern. I'm going to pull up my instructions on an iPad, just save myself some paper. So I want pages 26 through 33. And I'm going to hit print here. Here we go. All right, I have all my papers printed out. Go to your last page, page 33, and we're gonna make sure that this 1-inch test square is indeed 1 inch, and that will make sure that everything has printed on the proper size. Easiest way to do that is to grab a see-through ruler, but any ruler will do, and it should line up perfectly. That shows that it is 1 inch. All right. We're good to go. Our next step is to line our papers up. We're going to line up A to A and B to B. I like to leave one edge open to place the next paper on top of it and tape it all up together. So I'll be doing that next. Okay, everything is taped up. Now I'm going to cut out each of the individual pieces. If you haven't, make sure that your tape includes the actual pattern pieces. I've kind of taped to make sure that each pattern is going to be next to its piece. So here we go. Now we're cutting out the pattern pieces. Did your mom ever tell you that when you see this shape, you should go the opposite direction? That's what my mom told me, and sometimes I remember and do it, and sometimes I forget and don't do it. I would recommend it on this pattern just because fabric can be a little tricky with this. It's fine if you go in here, there should be room for it. It's just if you cut your fabric in this direction instead, it just guarantees that you're not cutting into something that is going to be sewn, or maybe it's getting too close to the edge. So I'd recommend anytime you see this shape, just go the other way for extra care. Here we can see all the pieces have been cut out. I have cut out the little triangle sides the other direction. It's totally fine if you want to go as it is labeled. This is just something I like to do sometimes, just to preserve the fabric and make sure I'm not ever going to run into some space where it gets a little tight. So good to go with our pattern pieces. All right, I find it easiest to keep my patterns on the iPad. I can like look at things real close and scan back and forth. The easiest way for me to do this is I just download the pattern. You can download it from Etsy, put it in the email myself, open it on an iPad. So I will be looking here for my notes. Our next step that we have done is we're going to start cutting out our fabric and using Post-it notes. We have begun to cut things out, and it's going to get complicated because I'm going to use each of these pieces at least once, sometimes 2 and 3 times, and so it can, with them all being rectangular shape, it can get confusing, so I like to just label them just to remind myself, because I'll need to pick this up and use it for a different fabric. So I will quickly label all of these pieces before I start using them for different fabric pieces. My fabric pieces have been cut out now and properly labeled to keep things organized. Here I am cutting out with the flex foam pieces and keeping them with their post-it notes. Here are all my pieces. I am now grabbing out the pieces that are going to be ironed together with the flex foam and keeping that organized, ready to iron. With the iron set on a low wool setting and a piece of cloth to go in between, place the fabric that you're going to iron to the flex foam, with the flex foam scratchy side facing up, and lightly press each piece. All of our pieces have been bonded together to our flex foam. I've just put them back in order so I don't misplace them. I've got my zipper sides here bonded, and we will begin with our next big step, which is adding the zipper. Okay, it is time to start adding our first zipper, our big zipper that's going to cover the length of the bag. I have here a 22-inch zipper, so let's get it out of its bag. And we're going to need our zipper side cases, as located here, zipper side and zipper side. I'm going to take these off because now I know what I'm working with. This is purely to keep me organized with all of these rectangular shapes. Okay, let's attach this zipper. Here's my zipper. Leave it about 2 to 3 inches. And turn it around and place it face down along the edge of my fabric A. Right there. And I'm just gonna add 2 clips. I'm gonna remove these in a second, just to hold these in place. And now I have my fabric B. I'm going to put right sides together, so face this straight down. That's right sides. Sandwiching my zipper in the middle. Line up the raw edges. There's my regular foot, and I'm gonna place it on the side here because I'll be using that lots, but I placed on a zipper foot. You can see right here is my zipper foot. It can go on both sides. I'm gonna leave it right there. Okay, looks good. Now this is the edge I just started with. I've got right here is my zipper pull. It's pulled down just a little bit. I'm gonna get started with sewing, and then I'm gonna pull it out of the way and then keep going the rest of the way. Okay, right here I'm leaving my zipper down in a little closer shot. And I'm just gonna, I can feel the big zipper pieces right here. I'm just gonna get it back out of my way so I can sew a little bit closer. Zoop. Set your stitch by going backwards and forward. Before I completely say we're done here, I'm gonna just check it real quick. And by flipping it this way and pulling the zipper. If it was too close, it would get stuck, and I would be able to tell that there was a problem there. So we can push it out. It's gonna eventually go in this direction with this piece going behind it. So we'll kind of push it with our hands for a minute and make sure it feels good. Feels good. So we have our zipper. We just need to fold our fabric B, our inner piece, to the opposite side. So this is gonna make a pad holding our zipper. So I'm gonna kind of do it with my hands first and then press it with the iron here. Okay, we have pressed this piece. This fabric kind of wants to jump back up because the flex foam is grabbing it. So I'm gonna pull it real tight, and I am gonna do a pin this time and pin it a couple times with it pulled real tight before we edge stitch it. Okay, this fabric is pulled tight, and now we're just going to stitch right below to keep everything nice and tight. This is my zipper side. I'm actually gonna go on the opposite side, and so towards the zipper. I'll just keep my zipper foot on, that's fine. Gonna keep my needle down, pick up a foot, and sneak this big chunky zipper out of the way. There he goes. And now keep going. Now I've got my other zipper side, A, I haven't used, facing up. We're going to unzip our zipper just a little bit and place it on our fabric A, zipper side, facing this direction. Pin it in place just a little bit and grab our fabric B and place it in place. All clipped. Now we're going to stitch it on a machine like we did before. Just like before, we're going to bend our fabrics back and check our zipper to make sure it doesn't snag on the fabric. As you're ironing, be careful not to go over the polyester zippers. They will melt. You want to pull this as tight as you can, even overlapping in this direction if you can. Now we will top stitch like before. This time, since I am done with my zipper stuff, I'm going to put my normal sewing foot back on. This will help hold my fabric. For now, this zipper piece is done. I can double check it. Make sure I'm zipping real smooth. I did notice while I was sewing that my fabric B, which is cotton, got pushed on both sides where I ended. I ended on this side and on this side, so I'm just gonna take some scissors and just straighten it up. This piece is done. I'm gonna just put my label back on it, so I remember, and plop it out of the way. Up next is handles. We are going to begin with folding our handles. We have two handle pieces in half long ways, so this way. We can get ready to sew already. We're going to sew a 1/2 inch along the raw edge. I'm You can pin it, of course, but I feel like it's short enough. I got long fingers, I don't need to pin it. Our next step is to take our two handle pieces and bend them down so the seam is straight in the middle. We're going to kind of finger press them, then we'll take them over to the iron and iron them down in that shape. Next thing we do is just move our piece inside out, our handles inside out, by using a safety pin is my favorite way to do it. Just gonna pinch it right here in the edge, turn it around, and go back in. Feed it through. Fill the inseam, make sure it's kind of flat inside there. There's those flat. All right, here's our flex foam handle pieces. We are going to fold these in half long ways and attach one end to a safety pin and pull it through. This is just going to be our padding for our handles. With my handles pieces, they are totally fine as is, or sometimes I like to put a little zigzag or design down the middle just to make them kind of lay more flat and be in the right shape that we want them to. I'm going to go up here to my machine and just pick a fun stitch. I like number 7, and I bring this over to like a 3. I'm going to go 3.5. And then I'm going to put that down the middle of my handle 3 times just to make it look interesting. Alright, 2 handles feel more handily, not quite so puffy. Let's grab our next 2 pieces we need, inner pockets and case sides. These inner pockets should already be ready to stitch with the wrong side of the fabrics facing which they are. We're going to stitch along, instead of 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, right along this notched edge, which will be right here on both pieces. So we're gonna scoot this over a little. Kind of the edge of this little foot is where we want to be stitching. This should be a basting stitch, so our stitches should be extra large for this part. We are going to take our case side pieces. One of them will be attached to the flex foam, side B, attach the notches together. The other, side B, case side, will not have flex foam. We'll place our pocket on top, keep the notches together, and we are going to base stitch around the 3 edges, starting at the top, middle, and bottom. Top, middle, bottom. I already got my stitch set to basting, so we'll just stick with it. So once again, here's my fabric. I'm going to begin right here with the pocket. Okay, these case sides are done for now, so I'm gonna gather them back up. And I have a fabric A with flex foam, didn't use yet, and one fabric B with no flex foam, didn't use yet. Gotta keep those together, put it in my done pile. Grab your top case zipper side and bottom case zipper side and your 7-inch zipper. Okay, here's our little zipper, little 7-inch side zipper. We are going to take our fabric A, which would be this big one with the flex foam on it, and stick it like that. And take our zipper face side down. Let's unzip it about 3 inches and place it along the top. And now we need fabric B right on top with our notches on the bottom. Aligning. We're going to, just like we did before, align these on the edge and clip them in place. Are going to sew our zipper on again. Let's put our zipper foot back on. Double check, make sure there's plenty of room. I'm not gonna hit it. Sew down. I can fill the zipper. This time I'm going in the opposite direction. I can fill the zipper is here, but the big zipper piece is down towards the middle. So I'm gonna sew to about right here and then move that big zipper out of my way. Okay, we're gonna do just like we did before. We're going to pull fabric B the other direction. Make sure our zipper can unzip just fine.
No problem. Let's go iron it in place. Get this real straight.
Okay, this has been ironed. We're gonna pull it as far down as we possibly can. Pin it in place. Now we grab our bottom case zipper side. We need fabric A facing up, and our notches, we're actually going to want them to be up in this direction. And we're going to grab our zipper, unzip it a little bit, and put the zipper down here on the bottom on the unnotched side on the flat edge. See how that goes. Put one pin for a minute. And our fabric B, bottom case zipper side, with our notches are up. Sandwiching the zipper in the middle. Let's clip it in place. Okay, I am pulling this back, checking my zipper, and ironing. Oh, and I need to pin these, make sure they're nice and back to my normal sewing foot. This is done. Just keep my pieces straight. I'll click that on there. Add it to my done pile. Done. Our last pieces is the case bottom. We are going to do A to A and B to B. Do our fabric A pieces first. This one has, of course, the flex foam has been attached to it. We're going to do right sides together. And we can pin or clip. I will clip. And we're going to stitch around the entire piece, leaving a 2-inch gap for turning it right side out. So basically I will start here, do all of my corners, and end here. Here to here. Okay, we have left our 2-inch gap. Now, before we turn it right side out, we're going to clip our corners. And this right side out, we want to make sure to do it fabric to fabric and not mess with the flex foam. So I'm going to go right in between my two fabrics. We want to make sure to press out all of our corners. I like this tool. I don't know where I found it, but it has this nice blunt edge, which will poke out my corners. This piece is done. We're going to do the same thing with our fabric B pieces. We want right sides together. And we're going to go around all the edges, leaving a 2-inch gap. Once you're done ironing, edge stitch the entire case bottoms in closing up the gap. You are done. Put them in your done pile. All of our pieces have been sewn together. This next part, we are grabbing the case sides and the inner pockets. We're going to grab one inner pocket, the one that has the flex foam on it, and place it down. This pocket is face down. And grab one of these case sides, fabric B, and place this on top. And we're going to line up our notches. So our little triangles are here at the bottom. And our bigger triangle notches are at the top. Alright, let's put in some clips so we don't lose our way, and we're going to base stitch this entire square shape on just a 1/4 inch seam. This has been base stitched around all of the edges. On the other side of this, I have my pocket. This will be going into our scripture bag in this direction. Our other case side piece and inner pocket will be later. So we're just gonna slide these back. this piece we just completed is going to be ready to grab in a little bit, and please grab the zipper side piece. We want our zipper right here to be on the left side, so I'm going to just flip it around. This part of the pattern is probably the most difficult. We're going to start attaching and wrapping this around a scripture bag, so it's basically in this shape as it attaches to the case, the scripture case sides. So bear with me, and here we go. First thing we should do is I've left all my pins in, so if you have your pins, take them out. Okay, pins are out. So once again, we have our zipper over here on the left side. We're gonna fold A, which is this piece right here, away from the B fabric. So it just means take this top one, fold it down. That leaves just this side B left by itself, and these three are kind of on their own. I'm just gonna clip them. 1, 2, and 3. This one's by itself. Now we're gonna grab this case side. We've got fabric B on both sides, as you see, where the pocket is gonna be face down with this pocket on top. And we're gonna line up the very left of our zipper case to the very right of the double notched case side. So this is my double notch. I made them kind of you know, not going in, but going out, and I just made it more of a brick shape. But this is gonna begin right where that ends. So we're going to be pinning and pulling this fabric around and stretching it around this shape, and it will end right here at the other end right here. So I have just fabric B and just fabric B, and I'm going to pick it up and pin kind of on the bottom side. This one I am going to use pins. The clips sometimes like to pull out. I need these to definitely stay. So I got my first one in. I'm going to stretch the fabric and pin. Okay, this fabric should end right here to the left of this notch. If it did, then you're right on track. If it didn't, you probably need to just pull your fabric tighter as you go around. So we have just pinned the first section going around, and now we're gonna put this in our machine, going this way, kind of pulling as we sew, and we're gonna sew all these two layers together. I'm gonna put it back over here. We're sewing it pretty close to the edge, about 3/8. So just slightly scoot it over from 1/4. That's basically how I see it. And make your stitch over here. We want this stitch to be pretty tight so that we make sure everything stays in place. All right, we'll just go nice and slow around the bag here. Let's take a look at what we did. We're gonna just grab it and pop it the other way. And we want just make sure we caught all of our edges. Everything looks good there. Everything looks good there. Technically, it's gonna be eventually this way, but it's doing what it's supposed to. All right, we're gonna flip back this way. And real carefully, making sure we don't get any of this bottom stuff, we're gonna clip our corners. Much fabric that clipping these square corners will just help it with the twisting and the turning that it's gonna be constantly doing. So I'm going really close to the edge without getting any of the fabrics underneath or the stitches that we just made. Okay, let's flip this pocket, the zipper side, the back side that it belongs. Now that everything's in, we clipped our edges and we're kind of pushing them back in where they belong. We're gonna grab our other inner pocket piece or case-side piece, and we're gonna attach it to our bag, kind of like we just did. Let's flip it around. The pocket is going to be on top against the table. We have, this is our single notches up here and our double notches right here at the bottom. Okay, and we're going to attach our zipper to it. Same thing like before. We have our fabrics. We're going to take this extra A piece, A fabric, and just get it out of our way. I'm gonna put a pin or a clip in it to hold these two, even though they probably won't bug us, but that'll keep them extra out of our way. And this is our fabric B. I'm gonna push what we just did also out of our way, just making room. And we're gonna attach this to our pocket like we did before in the same manner as we did before. We're going to pick it up and attach it in this corner on the very right of our corner, and grab our pins and start pinning. Okay, this fabric has stopped wrapping right at the double notch, which is right where we want it to end, which is just like our last one we did. We're gonna put it in our machine. I'll probably start right here. And just with these two fabrics, I'm gonna hold it in and sew all the way around. Okay, we have just sewn around all these edges, beginning at our double notch, going around, ending at our other double notch. Let's flip it inside out and just make sure we didn't miss any of our edges or anything. Looks good. We're gonna turn it back clip our 4 corners. We have clipped the corners. Now we're going to let go of the zipper side that we had clipped earlier together. And this bag is good for now. We can double check and make sure the inside looks good. We have our 2 pockets facing this way, which is what we want. And we're just gonna set this aside for a little bit. So we're gonna grab our case-side piece and our other case-side piece, which is basically zippered top and bottom, and attach our handles. We want the bottom edge, which is the one with the big seam in the middle, to line up with our single notches. There's one single notch. We'll put the middle straight through. And this one will line up the middle of the notch with the middle of the arrow or notch. Okay, we have our handles attached on both sides here. Let's sew these in place. Both handles have been attached. They're going to be used, of course, this way eventually. Up on both sides of our bag. All right, we are going to attach our zipper case to this bag. We're going to unzip it a little bit and flip it upside down. It's face down, and we're going to attach this bag with this soft flex foam side facing up, basically lined up like this. Get this a little bit higher here. Okay. We're going to pick this up on this notch right here and work its way the bag all the way around. This time it'll look, these sides will be matched. So once again, this is face down. This edge is going to be attached to our double notched edge right on the right side, bottom side together. I'm going to use clips for sure this time because it's very thick. When you get to the zipper, just make sure it's in the right spot, placed together. The handle is going to stay just down and out of the way. If you're worried about it, you could take a pin and just pin it out of your way, but it feels like it's going to stay out of the way. Picking up this bag and kind of turn it inside out a little bit so it'll flip properly and go around as we did the other 2 times, but now we're doing the 2 thick and extra thick here with the handle. 2 more clips and clip there, clip there. Okay, just like we did before. Let's start sewing our bag. just finished sewing this piece to my zipper side piece. First we're gonna do is check it, make sure we caught all of our edges. Let's trim the corners. Trimming edges. All right, this side is done. Okay, we're gonna flip this bag basically to the right side now that we've trimmed some edges. Now we need to add our last side, which is this handle piece right here. We are gonna grab it. Handles on the top. If you want to pin these down to get them out of the way, you can. Our notches on the bottom. And we're gonna pick up this edge and pick up this edge. And these are going to be connected face down going around this way basically, but we want to start right here. And make sure, double check that our handles are going to be up top. Looks good. I'm basically going to enclose this and do our final pin and sew around. Here are the two handles once again where these notches are. Just make sure you grab a pin, pin them well and sew them a couple times back and forth. Okay, this bag is all pinned, ready to go into the machine. We have just sewed around all of these edges. We can double check them to make sure we haven't messed up anything. And then we'll clip our corners like we've done before. This time we're gonna go through this hole right here. We've got basically 3 holes. We wanna go on the fabric A to fabric A hole. And you can even kind of just grab the handles to give you a little push through the hole. Snip this thread and we'll turn it back inside out and trim the corners. There's our 4 corners, nice and snipped. Snip this one more here. Just helps out when it's turned inside out, or right side out, I suppose. All right, this should be our last time going inside out. And use your, if you have a little tool that kind of pushes out corners, and just go around and just okay, our bag is taking shape here. Got our handles, got our zippers, and our inside. This inside is puffing the wrong direction. It needs to stay in. So now it can go back into its home. So that brings us up to our next step, which is to secure the corners and the zipper ends. This step technically can be skipped, but it makes this want to run into the zipper and be a problem, and makes all these corners just not as in the corner as they should be. So we're just going to take a needle and thread and basically just pull all these corner to corners and just secure them. So I'm going to go around by hand and just secure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the 8 corners, just pulling these corners more tight inside. Okay, I have finished sewing in little stitches in all 8 of these corners, and now I'm just gonna kind of take this tool and just try to kind of jam everything in there. Can also take the iron and try to iron things so everything stays in its right. All right, let's zip up our bag and see what we got here. Looking good from the outside, but if we look here at the bottom, we can see we have a piece that's going to cover up our middle part of the bag, but we have 2 little holes that are not, they're going to get covered up like right here, and so this will be left a hole, and so we want to cover that up. We're going to pinch it from the outside, and then we'll unzip it and see what we got. We're gonna do kind of a triangle shape. There's one right there. We got our second hole right here that we're gonna pinch the right sides together and put a clip into just to hold that, and then we'll look at it from the inside and then zip it. Zip. So this bag unzipped looks like this, and we want basically, we hold it this way, fold it in half here, fold it this way. We're going to do lines coming this way and a line coming this way, basically from our zipper and over, and this will kind of hold that little gap that we just saw close. There we go. That hole we had is gone. Push your corners back out, like that bag. All right, we are ready for our final step, which involves unzipping the bag again. Okay, we are going to place our last pieces here. We have our 2 case bottom pieces on the bag, and we are going to pin them in place. So basically we want this to sit up and this to sit up, and we're just gonna try to cover up this hole as best we can with all these crazy ends and shapes and everything we can to try to cover it up and make it look nice. It's gonna be the bottom of our bag, so we need it to kind of sit up while we work. Make sure everything is gonna align correctly. All right, this one is in place. Trying to bend it up as we work to make sure it's gonna grab everything. Mostly this bag is meant to be held this way. Sometimes it's meant to be held this way. This is ready to be sewn in place. This has been sewn in place. Looks good. Time to do our final step, making this bag. Plus, of course, any threads that are just hanging out. And that is to add this final case bottom. It goes here. If you try to pin it like this, it doesn't quite work. You need something to prop it up. A mason jar right here. That will do the trick. That way I can keep this propped on the jar and use both my hands for pinning. That one went straight down. And that should hold my case bottom in place. Sewing this case bottom is so thick, I'm gonna switch my needle to this denim jean needle. We are done, mostly. I'm gonna inspect and go around and snip any strings that I've missed. Yay, our bag is all done. Last thing it needs is our scriptures. Oh, perfect fit. Good to go.